And a very good morning. I do not know what is happening with my camera and why it's not showing up on the screen. Can you see me? Yes, you can. I think you can see me now. So, good to see you this morning. Very warm welcome to the Apex Brotherhood live stream. We are now live. It is 8 AM in London and it is another fine day for trading. So welcome. Success is the only option. That's what we say at the Apex Brotherhood. So you're in the right place. And I can see already we have MGN Thalantir on the chat this morning. So welcome as usual. It is great to see you. Just confirm you can hear me okay, because for a second there I couldn't be seen. I don't know why that is not showing me on the other screen. Anyway, we've got the double name tag, as it says. I am Scott Callahan, and also known as Sigma FX Trading. I think you can just see that. Half and one and a half. I'm not feeling 1.5. I think after last week, I think I was telling you last week I had the cold. Been pretty miserable over the weekend. Kind of run down. I'll tell you the story actually of the last week. In fact, MGN's confirming they can hear and see us, or me this morning. Good. That's good. Good that we can see each other. It's a shame we can't see everyone who's watching as well. It'd be good to make this more interactive as opposed to just chat. It could get a bit messy though. It'll get a bit messy. This is the only time I get to be in charge of speaking and take the floor in a group situation. I'm not the best at gaining that leadership role. I like to be more in the background, observe everyone else, and just chip in when necessary. When it's going the wrong way, and there's that group think that just seems to happen. I always seem to be able to see the other side of things when everyone is going down the wrong path and not seeing the unintended consequences of their actions, and the dysfunctional behaviour that can be created when certain guidelines or parameters are put in place to guide a team in a certain direction. Anyway, I digress. I'm starting to sound like I used to sound when I was working full time. I don't do that anymore now that I'm trying to be a full-time trader. Or am I going to enjoy the fruits of life that exist outside of trading? It's something that MGN had brought up during the week, and which was, why waste all this time trying to become a successful trader, getting stuck in that quagmire of in between, kind of knowing what the script is and success. So, morning Pulley, looking good, Scott. Yeah, I'm not feeling great. It was, I tell you, there's not just the cold and the bad vibes of illness that are upon me over the last week or so. There's other reasons for it too, which I'll go into in a second. And just as I touched on there, MGN and his dilemma, what we call it, during the week, which as we can see, the support you got, a lot of people relating to it, including myself. What's Pulley talking about? What was I talking about when you said this, Pulley? You talking about poker night? Oh yeah, the group situation. Yeah, probably. Yeah, just sit back and throw in the big hands and make the dodgy comments and make it look like I don't know what I'm doing. In fact, it's pretty true. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. It's poker is often played when I'm not really in the input mode of understanding. Poker is often played when there's the distraction of chat and drinks and a bit of a laugh. So I don't take in that information at that time on how to actually play it and have some good tactics. But Rich is good at poker. He's he's not a dark horse, because we all know his tactic. Well, we don't know his tactics, but we know that he's a good player and experienced as well. So MGN saying there is a whole story behind that rant that made me reevaluate a few things. I might get into it a bit more sometime. Yeah, it's a dilemma I'm actually having, and I have had before, and I think every trader, when they're on that path to becoming profitable, goes through the doubt, the self-doubt, the facts that are before them. 98% of people are losing money and don't make it and are not going to do this profitably for a consistent period. That in itself says, what are you doing, mate? Just go and do something else. Get a job, mate. But do we all want to be slaves to the system, or do we want to have financial freedom and take that control ourselves? Of course we want to have the latter, but it's not an easy path to it. And we'll talk about that more, because that's going to be the kind of running theme of today if I get the chance to talk about it, because we may well have Will, our founder, coming on. We will continue the discussion as well in the Discord. Do join the Apex Brotherhood Discord. Link is in the description. Join our community. It's a paid membership. It's worth every penny. Get in there and we have these kind of conversations in full, and more degenerate ones as well. The other part of what I was going to talk about today was, we're doing the 100 to 1,000, growing the small account. I know I've not spoken about that for a couple of weeks. I've not really been trading, just because of some of the reasons we're talking about there. Took that account into drawdown, and then it's just kind of put me in a stall. So I will get back to it. I think it's you need to know when to trade and when not to trade, and this for me is a time not to trade. And is it time to take a longer break? It may well be. I'm considering that too. So let's not be negative, let's be positive, because we've got a new name here that I've not seen before. We've got Kobus Gusen. Welcome. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and what you're trading, and what brought you here this morning. Welcome to the Apex Brotherhood live stream. Good to see you on here. It's nice to see a new name I don't recognise. If you have been here before, apologies, I don't remember you, but it's good to have you. Nice. Thank you for joining us this morning. Pulley is saying something. I should really read Pulley's comments before I bring them up, because I'm reading them live on screen. I honestly still haven't got a clue how to play poker. Just enjoy the banter with the group. Yeah, I'm the same, Pulley. It's a good night. Friday night we have a games night or a get-together night. Sometimes we'll play poker just for fun. So it's good to join everybody on those nights. MGN saying he knows how to play poker very badly. Yeah, I know. So somebody's not new. Kobus Gusen is not new. He is just don't recognise covered. And right, okay, that's Q hosting. Okay, on the Discord, I get it. Kobus Gusen. I'll say it right. Nice to see you. Yeah, we're all on our way. We're all booking tickets with Saudi Airlines to come out and visit you. Thank you very much for the invite. We're looking forward to doing that. I'm also looking forward to doing the doubling challenge. That could be interesting just for fun. We'll speak about that in a second as well. And we also have Will Davies official joining us this morning on the chat. Nice to see you, Will. It's good to have you. I'm just going to go and do the news quickly, because just in case you decide to come on and steal my limelight from reading the news, because I do like my news reading in the morning. So let's go straight to news. Let's see if my camera comes up. If it doesn't, apologise, I've gone somewhere, and we'll see if we can get me back on. I'll just remove this just now. Okay. And we have the news of the day on Apex Brotherhood. We're just after 8:10 in the morning, London time. Welcome to the Apex Brotherhood Forex news for today. Looking at the economic calendar and baby pips on Thursday, the 21st of May 2026. We've got 8:30 London time Euronews, German manufacturing PMI flash, and then on to 9:30 London time pound news with S&P PMI flash and global manufacturing PMI flash. That's for services and manufacturing. 9:30 London time pound news, and then we're free and clear until the afternoon and some dollar news of at 1:30 p.m. London time, US dollar news, building permits, housing starts, and initial jobless claims. Having a quick look at the president, he is basically just doing a lot of support or endorsement stuff for local politics or national politics in the United States. Nothing too controversial over the last day. Basically saying his war powers are still valid, I think. Yeah, I'm not going to play the video, but yeah, nothing that's upsetting for the markets this morning. Let's have a look at First Squawk. I've not looked at that either. We've got kind of general stuff. Is anything kind of standing out as being of note that could... I'm not seeing anything sort of world news wise that's going to... Iranian Foreign Ministry, we have received the US views and are reviewing them. So I think the most recent stuff on the US and Israeli invasion of Iran, is basically that there's negotiations. They were going to have another attack on the country. However, they've decided to stall that to allow negotiations to open the strait to recommence. So that's the news for today. Let's go back to the presenter screen and add my camera back in because I don't know what's happened. So good to have you. Good to have you all this morning. Welcome to the Apex Brotherhood live stream. We are live. So what's next? Let's put this screen on.
Good morning. How are we doing? Let's see if okay, so they can hear me. Yeah, for some reason, Scott, they can't hear you, which is strange. Yeah, how odd is that? Has it switched over mics? Have you possibly? Sweet, not a problemo. Tell you what we'll do. Let's get my chart up in the house. What? Let's have a look. Trading view. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Let me get a screen share. In fact, Scott, if you'd like, mate, let me get my screen share going, and then you can completely refresh your page. Is that working? There we go. So, like I was saying, good morning, guys. How are we all doing? Hope that you're having a fantastic start to the morning. Quibus, hello there. How you doing, Quibus? Good to see you in, brother. Let us know what how life is out in the sun bit. Dude, you made me laugh this morning when I read that. That did make me giggle. Hair is all over the place. I need to sort it out. Didn't have time this morning to go do my hair, so I thought I'd just jump on and spend some time with Scott. And I probably won't be able to spend too much time here. I'll probably only be here for a little bit. So I thought I'd come on this morning and say hello. So I don't know where Scott left off before his volume decided to drop. But let's have a bit of a catch up anyway. Let's say good morning to everyone. Greetings, I'm Jen Talent here. What's good, my man? How you doing? Pooley, you're talking about poking out. Oh, now it's completely. What's happened now? Now it's completely silent. Scott, what are you doing in the background? You're pressing buttons. Oh, I see. Fair. Like I said, if you want, just completely refresh the page and it may kick it back in. It's me, Q hosting. Yeah, Quibus, how you doing, bro? Morning to myself. Good morning, me. I don't know if it actually comes up. Okay, yeah, it does. Okay. Also, guys, yes, make sure that you do like and subscribe. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new here. It's great to see some new faces in. I know that a couple of the people do come in. They don't interact. Maybe you're too shy. So definitely do come in and come say hello to us all. Also, don't forget to join the Discord. Yes, get yourself in the community, guys. The link is in the description below. It's now also in the chat. So do go get yourself over into the Discord community. Yeah, it's really strange. All good, just getting ready to fly home early tomorrow morning. Oh, awesome stuff, man. Dude, that's super cool. Okay. This is what I mean. I get a pile of messages in the morning, so just checking through. Awesome stuff. So I don't know where. Aha, Scott has refreshed his page. There we go. So he's refreshing now. So he's just dropped out. He'll be back in a minute. So as you can see, guys, just taking a look at the gold chart. Now, I won't be trading this probably for another half an hour yet. We got that sweep below this area here. Clearly on this nice little downtrend as well, which is... in fact, let's move this back down here. There we go. Clearly in this nice little downtrend, as we can see here, you know, top to bottom, we can see that order flow is clearly bearish at the moment. Yesterday was super frustrating for me. If any of you guys watched the Fivers live stream, I took this trade live there, and this was just a super frustrating trade to be in, just because, you know, we had some beautiful consolidation here. But let me actually get my highlighter. We got some beautiful consolidation here. Got a really nice break and close above. Pull back, continuation. And this continuation was showing that price was clearly bullish. And this was like that confirmation area for me. That was like, yes, we're going to continue up. Had a bit of deep drawdown. Not the end of the world. And then price just came down, wicked me out of the trade here before then hitting a full 2% or 2R trade. So it's super frustrating for me yesterday. However, I can see why price did it. You know, there was an area of interest down here, and I did anticipate price could have come a little bit lower. However, I kind of thought to myself that price had already tapped this area in, but apparently not. Apparently not. Sometimes the markets just be doing that. So one of those things, I suppose. So the right, what's going on there? Why isn't that not doing it properly? Okay. So yeah, that was my trade from yesterday. I'm just refreshing some of the pages because some of my pages aren't working. There we go. That's better. Awesome stuff. So again, yesterday, you know, we had the earnings come out for Nvidia at 9 p.m. So let's have a look. Where's 9 p.m.? It's 21. So about here. So this was the Nvidia sort of release now around here. Do we have the, does anyone have the statistics for the Nvidia release? I didn't watch it. I was actually in bed before the the results were given. So I know Pooley was watching it on CNBC. So Pooley, if you are still in chat, my friend, let me know if you caught the earnings, and if you did, what were they like? There we go. Yeah, so if you are in chat, Pooley, let me know, or I'll try and find it on Forex Factory if it's there. Oh, that's better. There we go. Let's go on to Forex Factory. Bosh. Right, what just happened? Where's it gone? Never mind. Let's try that again. I'm seeing MG and Talentia saying you skipped it completely. I don't blame you. I can imagine Rich would have potentially watched it, and I know LG definitely would have. But you know, it's not something that I was too interested in. I don't really trade the Nasdaq. Yeah. Should we try it?
Hello again, guys, and thank you for bearing with me while my sound issues were a problem. I don't know what happened there. My microphone just seemed to disconnect from the system, but I've reset it and I'm back now. So good to be back.
You are indeed back. Yeah, we can hear you perfectly now, which is good. I was just talking about my trade from yesterday on gold. A little bit frustrating, but you know, just one of those things. Pooley, they were good, mate, but the market sold off initially on them. Yeah, no, I thought that was the case. Yeah, in fact, let me just go back to 15. Here. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So you can see that. I don't know what the results came out. So if they were good, quite surprising that if they were good, they came out and sold off. But it is what it is. Nvidia needs to knock the ball out of the park every earnings. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, you know, if they didn't have if they weren't as close to expected, then it makes sense. You know, I suppose. But I don't know. I'm not a fundamentalist, and I try not to get too wrapped up in the fundamentals. However, we are looking really nice on the Nasdaq for some potential long opportunities. Why? Now we've got this consolidation here. We've got this movement up, further consolidation, movement up, consolidation, movement up, failure to move above, pull back into this area of interest, this prior consolidation, and then that continuation higher, break and close above, which is nice, and we're starting to pull back into this zone here. So this zone, depending on how we react, maybe if we consolidate, break and close above, we can have that continuation pattern up. So Nasdaq is starting to look quite nice on the 15-minute for long opportunities. If you want to get in early, then there's a potential early entry area around here. I'd definitely be targeting the highs. Where would I put my stop? Probably the low down here. So nice 2-hour trade. That's what I'd be forecasting. Are we back, Scott? I know that I just heard you go.
Yes.
Okay, you're back. Cool.
Yes, I think I'm back.
In fact, let me just try and get rid of all this crap. Go away. There we go. Cool. Let me just put my... What did I say? Just on the lows here, wasn't it? I believe. Yes, it was. There, cool. So that's what I'd be looking at on the Nasdaq if I was to be trading that this morning. But again, I don't trade Nasdaq. I certainly don't trade Nasdaq in the morning session. So that's what I would be trading if I was trading it. But let us know what you guys are looking at as well this morning.
Do you trade any indices at all, Will?
I trade the US. I swing the US 30. The S&P I'm testing. I haven't really developed a solid strategy over that yet. But the Nasdaq I do intraday trade on the New York session, but I don't trade the New York session as much anymore, so it's not something that I trade as much. But yeah, I do swing trade the US 30.
And when you say swing trading, do you trade both short and long?
Yeah. Not as much. I think I've placed in the past 2 years. I've been testing this, or in the past 12, 18 months, I've been testing this. I've probably taken 2 shorts out of all the longs I've taken. However, the longs I've taken, I've probably taken like 5, 10 longs, and some of them have been like held for 2, 3, 4 months. So yeah, I don't really take many shorts on the US 30. They are predominantly longs, but if a short sets up, a short sets up.
The reason I'm asking is I had a conversation with one of my trader friends earlier in the week, and he was basically saying, why are you messing about with Forex when the indices go up and to the right in general, and a lot of successful traders are kind of long only on indices, but that must be on the higher time frames, like you swing more than intraday where you get that volatility that.
Yeah, you're still going to get fluctuation. I think anyone who leverages the markets, has the ability to long and to short. So for someone to say, why waste time with Forex? Look, I can see why someone would say that because, Forex isn't made for us, but neither are the indices. So, when it comes to Forex trading, yes, it can be a tough market. But if you ask me, when it comes to opportunities, Forex displays and holds a lot more opportunities than the indices. Because like you just mentioned, predominantly the indices are up and sideways, which is pretty much what they're designed to do. You don't want an indice to be dropping too much. However, you go into the smaller time frames, the 5, the 15, the 1 hour, the 4 hour even. Like when it comes to higher time frame indices, you're talking like sort of 4 hour daily, weekly, monthly, or annually, so per annum. So it all depends on how you trade. But it's easier and you get more opportunities trading Forex for both long and short than you do trading an indice.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it was just a provocative comment to try and get me to think about what I'm doing. But yeah, interesting. I kind of stay away from the indices myself as the volatility. I think if you go lower time frames to trade intraday on indices, it's much more safe than you can't go from trading euro dollar and try and do the same thing as you would do on the DAX, for instance.
Yeah, so it depends, I suppose, with patterns as well. Once you realize and once you find a nice pattern that or like a strategy or some form of confluence stack that you can find on a certain asset, it depends on what works for you. I like gold, personally. I like the way it sets up for me. And if I take a nice setup, like right now on this, nothing here works on gold. on the 5 minute, nothing here is working for me on gold. Maybe we had a slight consolidation breakout here. I suppose I could, you could have traded this, but even that isn't as nice. So when you're looking for sort of that confluence or consolidation, like for example here, nice little consolidation over end of New York, you could have potentially looked at placing a trade something like this. Stops on the high, 1-to-1 here. You wouldn't have got a 1-to-2, you would have been stopped, but nice little 1-to-1. Same goes here. You got bigger consolidation. You got to find where it works for you and what times work for you, because we've got the consolidation here if we ignore the wicks, but then we've got this massive wick up here. So it depends if you're taking wicks into consideration. You've got the break and close above here, or you could also look at the break and close above here. So it depends where you want to be trading from, how risky you want to be, and how much impulse you want. And then again, you got 1-to-1 here. Do you get a 1-to-2? Just about get a 1-to-2. So right. I suppose you could look at 1-to-2. But what you get a nice 1-to-1 just down here. So it's about finding what works for you at the end of the day. Now, I couldn't trade my Forex strategy on this. I couldn't trade my euro dollar or my pound dollar strategy on this just because I'd be stopped out more times than it's probably worth trading. I also couldn't trade my gold strategy on the NASDAQ. It wouldn't work. I could potentially trade it on the DAX. It's about finding out. It's about finding how certain assets and how pairs run and work for you. US 30. I certainly couldn't trade my US 30 strategy on gold. Now, back in September, I could have traded my US 30 strategy. So it's all about finding. The markets are secular. It's all about finding what works for the markets and how the markets can run for you. And you've got Pooley out here saying as well, I only trade the NAS now, Scott. My results have been far better and more consistent than trading FX or Forex. That makes complete sense. Rich Butler is the exact same. Rich used to be on stream here with us now, but now he runs the Fiverr streams. Rich went from trading EU and GU a little bit like me to now only solely trading the NAS. And his results are far better because he's found a way of analyzing an asset that works for him and the way he trades. So it's about trying to work out what works for you. And once you've found that asset that you can almost feel aligned with, doesn't matter whether that's indices, commodities, or stocks, shares, Forex, it really doesn't matter. It's about finding what aligns and works with the way you see the market.
Yeah, and I think that can also change as well, just as you were saying with the markets being cyclical. Last week I had a great week at the beginning of the week on gold where it was ranging and I was just bouncing the price from one side to the other, and then it started to rally, or it started to drop down the way, I should say, and then it just kept catching me out. So I don't know if I mentioned on the Discord over the weekend and for the last few days I have spent coding an EA to try and do what I do in my strategies. And I put the strategy I was using on gold successfully last week into the EA, and I put it back over the last 10 years. For 9 years it did nothing. It just went from the 100k theoretical balance down to 97, up to 103, down to 95, up to 102, and then January the 30th this year it went from 100,000 to 400,000 in that period. I'm like, there's a caveat to that. I have probably curve fitted the last 3 or 4 months into what's your stop, what's your trail, what's your TP, and that by optimizing that for those 4 or 5 months. But when I took it, I didn't know what it was going to do for the previous 9 years. I thought I'll do it over 10 years.
That's the whole point in backtesting as well. That's the whole point in strategy optimization is you're able to look at it and go, right, okay, for the past 10 years it's done fuck all. What must I change for it now to do something. What must I edit and add for price to move in a way that we're actually going to earn money? And when it comes to, and this is the luxury that I love about AI and algorithmic trading, is it allows people to say, screw the emotion. And
Yeah.
if people could look at their human strategy, should we call it, and say screw the emotion, a lot more people would be profitable. For some reason, people look at their human strategy, and the moment they think I'm responsible for placing this trade now, their psychology kicks in, and it just goes down the window, out the window, it goes down the drain. So once they start looking at algorithms, they're still responsible for placing that trade. They're designing the algorithm. Just because the algorithm's doing it for them, they are still inputting. They're still giving it the commands, and they say screw the algorithm, screw the psychology. Screw me trading. I'm gonna get the algo to do it. And what they do then is they sort of detach their emotion from the P&L. Because they have someone else to blame. And by having someone else to blame, it makes them feel better, and it detaches that emotion to the trading and to the P&L. If people could try and align that with their personal trading, then they'd be a lot more profitable in trading.
Yeah, yeah. So, so the algo can apply the strategy without emotion.
That's all it is. That is
Yeah.
literally all it is. But tell me,
You know,
how did the bot trading go in? Because I know that you went MIA for a few days and just went hard
yeah,
in on it.
yeah. I've seen times of the day and night that I've not seen for a very long time this week because I have been up till midnight just not fighting with AI, but uh, it's a slow process when you're getting AI to code because it
Yeah.
sometimes jumps back a couple of steps and then starts talking about something you've told it to disregard, or it adds it back in without telling you, and then you're like, why did that come back? I know it might depend on what level you're paying for or what level you're accessing for free, and if you're jumping between different large language models to try and optimize. But yeah, it's gone well. I mean, I concentrated on gold to begin with, and then I thought, why am I concentrating on something I've only discovered last week and had developed last week? Why not do it for forex? But then you'd start to realize actually there's so many nuances and things you see as a human that you can't really describe to a, it's my way of trading is not 100% mechanical. Sometimes it's just intuition. But then is that right? Is that why I'm not yet? I've not yet got the consistency that I'm looking for in trading. So I was trying to code that into the EA, and I realized that was just getting too complicated for what is a complicated strategy. So
Yeah.
I then started to look at simplifying it down again to just a strength and momentum strategy, which is the core of my own strategy, and just saying let's focus on that strength and momentum. So I'm part way through that just now. It's getting to the point where my computer's not able to handle the back testing because there's so many variables, and it's taken like 300 hours to do a full 10-year back test, which
Yeah, no,
uh,
fair.
I wouldn't be able to stream for a couple of weeks because that would I wouldn't be able to do anything else for 2 weeks. But I guess it's worth it if you can get that code and take yourself out of it, but while still being in control of it. Because I think it was NGN got me thinking earlier in the week. How much time am I actually spending for not the return at this stage, for what might be a future return in trading, and if I can use EA to give myself some time back in the meantime, that might allow me to be more comfortable with the process of becoming a profitable, consistent, full time, financially free trader, which
Yeah,
is what we're all
exactly.
aiming to become.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. It's once you start realizing that less is more, And we spoke about this yesterday on the Fiverr stream as well. You know, we were discussing the idea of less, you know, simplicity is key. You know, trying to keep something stupid simple, and it works to a degree. And like LJ had a fair point where it was like, yeah, okay, simplicity is key, but don't simplify something that shouldn't be simplified. So like, you need to make it as simple as it can be. And if you're adding a pile of garbage in just to try and make it look all complicated, you know, trading is pretty simple to a degree. However, there's complexity to it. You know, a lot of what I do, there's complexity to. However, the analysis is super simple. It's literally trend, high, low, breakout, consolidation, and then confluences. That's literally all my strategy is. And every single strategy that I have is literally identify trend, identify high and low, identify confluences, enter. It's so simple, but of course there is complexity to it. So you know, you've got to take that into consideration, of course. But yeah, when it comes to algorithmic trading, it's a rabbit hole if you don't get it right, I think, because you'll spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and then it'll just be a semi-profitable strategy. And then you spend another few hours and hours and hours and hours. It just before you realize you've spent weeks, if not months, trying to test different strategies, when in theory you don't actually know what base strategy you want. You need to go into algorithmic trading as at least a semi-profitable trader anyway.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it
I'm
helps.
beginning to realize that.
Yeah, exactly. It helps if you go into algorithmic trading so the perfect algo trader or the perfect algo designer, in my opinion, is a profitable trader with a hyper mechanical strategy. So in other words, a strategy that is so mechanical it can be inputted and you can give the instructions, no discretion, and someone who struggles with psychology. Those three components would make the perfect algo trader or the perfect algo designer, because he'd have a strategy that he knows and he's already profitable with, and he knows that it's a profitable strategy. He's tested it and he's fully aware that this strategy is a profitable system. They'd have potentially bad psychology, because that means that they know that that's their issue. They're like, the only reason I'm not making money is I cannot deal with the psychology of trading. And number three is the most important, mechanical. You know, if you have a discretionary, I have discretion in my strategy. And if I look at the markets, I'm like, okay, yes, here, there, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. How can I say to an AI, oh, maybe this, maybe that? You know, the AI, the algorithm, you know, code. It's just coding. Coding doesn't work on maybe this, maybe that.
It's if ands and well,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
this then that, if and this,
yeah,
but not that.
exactly.
It gets
If
very
this
very
happens, do
complicated.
that. When this happens, do that. If valid, execute that. You know, they're only, they don't work on if buts and maybes. They only work on absolutes. You know, they only work on, I need to see this to do this. And if you don't know in your strategy what you want to see until you see it, how can you say to an algorithm, I don't know what I want to see, but I kind of want to see something a little bit like this. So if you see something a little bit like this, then you can consider taking it. The algorithm's just going to be like, computer says no. You know, I don't understand. You'll have an error code pop up and you'll never take a trade. So,
It's certainly got me thinking, because you're just exactly what you're saying there has highlighted for me is, do I actually really know what I'm doing as a trader when I can't explain it to the algo, what I'm seeing and what I'm looking for? You know, it's made me think a little bit, not question myself, but a little bit. Actually, you need to be a little. You need to be more. I need to be more specific and more certain and more confident in what my strategy actually is, and that the process of going through this with the AI, it's almost like it's a coach and it's pointing things out.
And dude, it
should. as we
Yeah,
go along.
it really should, because that's the whole point. Is it should be able to hold a trading is a fantastic mirror, should we say, and it does hold a mirror up to yourself, and it should make you question. If you cannot explain your strategy to AI, two things: you either have a discretionary strategy, and you can't put that into AI, or you need to know and have a bit more of a solid understanding on what your strategy is. And if you don't have a solid understanding of what your strategy is, you as a person need to go back and understand your strategy a little bit better. You as a person need to go back and refine that strategy. Anyway, guys, I have got
Absolutely.
to shoot off and skedaddle. I'm going to go sort my bed head out and then, go make myself a coffee and jump into the live stream with the fivers. So, guys, please make sure you like this stream. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And definitely make sure that you go in and join the Discord. Also, guys, just before I do leave, I'm going to bring... Scott, if you share your screen real quick, I'm going to bring something up I want to show you all. I'm going to be posting this into the... There we go. Because then I can do it without bringing my personal data up. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll be able to bring an image up that I want to share with you guys. Where the hell's it gone? Just before... There we go. There it is. Right, just before I skedaddle, guys, I'm going to show you this really quickly, because I am doing an event, there we go. I have been invited to do an event next Thursday, 28th of May. Oh, you can't see it. Right, let me try again. Window, there we go. There we go. So, no, wrong one. There we go. Right, there we go. So, guys, I will be speaking on the 28th of May, which is next Thursday at 2 p.m. On an online event, in an online event called Round the Clock Trader. I will be talking about how to pass your prop firm challenge in 2026. So, guys, this is the first event that I've ever done online. Most of my events are all in-person events. So, super excited for this. I will be posting the link in the Discord, so get yourself into the Discord, and I will post the free registration link for it. But in the meantime, guys, I am gonna have to skedaddle. I seem to be having a bit of brain fog today. It is my last trading day of the week, so guys, thank you very much for joining, or for allowing me to join you, Scott. Make sure that you're going to message this guy and ask him all sorts of questions, and make sure you challenge him, because he has got a lot of value to bring. Anyway, guys, peace.
Cheers, Will. Nice to have Will on this morning. That was absolutely fantastic. Lots of nuggets of wisdom there, and it's good to hear that view on algo trading as I go deep into bot trading, coding, and EA development this week. I did do something similar a couple of years ago, where a group of us formed a kind of working team to look at a mechanical strategy, and we all took portions of it to backtest. And to be honest, the whole time I'm thinking, this is just to prove to us that mechanical strategies don't work over time. They might work for a period, they might work for certain points of the cycle, just as I was saying, the 100,000 to 400,000, 400 or whatever it is, 300 odd % increase in the account in those 4 or 5 months. I thought the whole point was to prove actually it needs your discretion to be a successful trader, rather than just if X equals Y, then Z, do Z. Kind of, I know that's oversimplified, as it's not quite as easy as that. But yeah, I have gone deep into the bot trading. I'm now just doing a simple strength and momentum, as Will says, keep it simple, stupid, KISS, and I'm now looking at just when the strength of a move is, or when a currency is strong, and it's moving in the opposite direction to a weak currency, either convergence or, well, convergence if it's strong going to, and retracing, and or strong divergence in the weak is weakening. If it's strong and strengthening and weak and weakening, then you've got divergence. If it's strong and weakening and weak and strengthening, then you've got convergence. So you can trade just because it's strong, and just because it's weak doesn't mean you trade the strong up and the weak down. You can also do the opposite, depending on the way they're moving. So you need to know direction. You need to know the strength of the move, the strength difference, and you also need to know the momentum of the change in strength for each of them. That's also sounding complicated, but it's not. It's very simple. That's the core of my strategy anyway, is to do that. So I'm trying to code the bot to just do that, and just do it when it's reached a certain threshold of momentum and a certain threshold of difference in strength, so that you've got that. You're not just trying to trade something that's going up and something that's going down that's of equal strength, if you know what I mean. Maybe not. I'm sure you guys do, because it's pretty much what price influences price movement anyway, and that's what we're all trading. So you do know what I'm talking about. But I'm almost at the stage where I'm about to backtest that, which, so I've stripped out all the rest of my strategy, which is, Bolly bands and MACDs and RSI, and looking for bias. But maybe I should add that back in. Anyway, I've stripped all that out and just went with what way is it going? What's the strength? There doesn't need to be a bias for the day. If it's strong and moving quickly, then it's doing that in the moment. So just quickly get in, quickly get out, and see if that is a profitable strategy. Anyway, as we approach 9 o'clock, let's have a quick look at the chat. If you do need a hand with the actual code itself, I'd be happy to help or advise. Well, that's what my son was saying. Dad, you must know coding now. You've been doing it for days. I was like, there's like a 900 line code on MQL5. I don't have a clue. I've not even looked at it. I've just copy, paste, input, compile, start the back test, see if it works. I've not looked at it. I'm starting to see some things, I suppose, in the code, but it's as I said to my son yesterday, I don't need to know. The AI does exactly what I say. So that's not good for coders, and I think as we get into this AI era, are we going to find more and more things that's pretty good. I mean, it's 95% of the time there's zero errors at first time of compiling. It's starting to get a bit messy now, but certainly when I use, how a lot of these AIs, you can get a limited number, maybe a few options to use the level above what you've paid for, or the free version. When it uses, I did upgrade to, I'm using Gemini Pro. I paid £18 it was, I think, for a month. But sometimes it lets me use the Pro thinking mode, or the upgrade to that. I tell you, it checks its own work. It checks its own homework before it tells you anything, and it gets it pretty accurately correct. So anyway, when we did that 2 years ago, we were backtested manually. I'm guessing we could have backtested an MT5 if we could have coded, but nobody could code. AI wasn't up to the task of coding at the time. We had a guy in Ukraine who was doing the coding, but he was, it was taking a week to come back with any one change. Now I can make a change in under 3 minutes, to implement a change to the code, to output the full new code, to optimize that code, to paste it, to compile it. But at the time you're relying on someone in Ukraine who's was not reliable, because obviously there was a lot going on there, and still is at the time. So yeah, it does invite a lot of questions as to what the future holds for lots of jobs and abilities. But that's appreciated, MGN. I may well share some of that with you, to see what the AI is doing that I don't know is doing. So just going back to what we were talking about with emotions and trading and whether to jump across the algo. It's not emotions that's the problem for MGN. It doesn't revenge trade, overtrade, miss entries, fear. Just suck at trading, plain and simple. Yeah, that's the stage I was getting to. I do all these things are on my horizon, I've got to say. I can resist them, especially when I can see the bigger picture of what my overall direction is. However, automating doesn't solve being a bad trader. And that's exactly what has made me question my trading future this week is if the strategy I'm trying to successfully trade is not actually successful, which the backtesting is beginning to highlight, then what the hell am I doing trading? I need to start again, and do I really want to do that with my strategy? I think I'm on the right path, to be honest, and I think that, or I know that the EA is not trading exactly the way I want it to as yet, but it's taken a lot of computer power to get to. But I think I'm definitely going to persist with optimizing it, but I'm now realised I'm not going to do that just by pulling 3 or 4 Leo Sayers all dayers, coding in late into the night and sacrificing my sleep and actually making myself feel tired and all the rest of it. So, and I do have other stuff to do as well, which is why it would be good if EA could do a little bit of what I do, not necessarily all of it, and then when I'm available, less is more, as well said as well. Less is more, and just Q hosting, if you're still watching, what inspired the idea of trading £10 or $10 to $10,000 is somebody had sent me something the other day that said trade was it $1,000 to $1 million in 10 trades. We're only 10 trades away from $1 million. So yeah, I'm up for trying that, Q. Only for fun, not as a long-term profitable trading strategy. I don't think it's sustainable. I think, as you said yourself in the chat, but I'm up for doing that live. You're only 5 trades away from being risk-free on your tenor, but getting to that 5 trades is the key. The rest after the 5 are a bonus, but then psychology kicks in as to at what stage are you not willing to, it's like a Deal or No Deal on Noel Edmonds, is it? On the telly, where do they still do that? I've no idea. I don't watch telly, and I never watched that either. I always just thought it was a why not just open the box at the start and not go through all the palaver. But that's kind of the same as the 10 trades to $1 million. At what stage are you not willing to risk what you've got on the table to get to the next doubling? And for me, it would be about £1,000. If you've got a tenner, you've only spent a tenner, you get up to 1,000. Are you going to double that to? Well, what does it go to? Yeah, roughly, you're at £1,250. Do you want to give that up to get to 2,500, or walk away with nothing? Then it's 2,500 to 5,000, then 5,000 to 10,000. You've got all that way. You can still pull your tenner out after trade 6. Once you're up to £640, pull £15 out and you're a fiver up. But it is a little bit gambly. It is a little bit red or black. But it's not if you've got an edge in your favour, where you're just looking for a small move. Well, good to see you here, Q. You're still here. Q's saying he wants to try, or he had to try something different, so decided to do the double up. Yeah, we should do it. We should have a start date where we all decide a tenor we can be committed to, and record each other's progress, or record your progress and share it. I certainly would intend to record each trade as I take it, and I think as Q, you were saying less is more. Just what Will was saying as well is that I need to go. I've got an appointment in 19 minutes, so I'll need to head off. But yeah, just as you were saying, less is more. It actually makes you wait. So there is a teaching point in here. It's not just for fun or doing it. Is that if you really want it to work, you really need to wait till the ultimate good-looking setup is there, and take that. Otherwise, you're just throwing it away if you go for something that's less than what you consider to be a grade A setup. So Q's also saying he needs to work on his discipline, taking too many trades. So exactly, just as I was saying, that could be the key to helping realise that actually less is more. In fact, I've got a coffee mug with "less is more" written on it. It's such a key message. In fact, I've got not a credit card, a bank card. One of my Revolut bank cards has got "less is more" on it as well. It's I would say I should look at these things more. It's the problem. You put something in front of your face and you get the complacency of not seeing it anymore. Yeah, well, that's it. Not sure if you'll be able to risk when you get to 50k. Exactly. It's especially doing it live. I'd be willing to do it because I've said I'll do it, and then it doesn't seem real if I'm doing it live and streaming it, or whatever, you know. Yeah, and I think that would get us a few more views as well. So do remember, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. It would be good to go through that process, and currently got 4 correct. Well, yeah. So you're 4. You know, there are strategies as well. You could potentially hedge a portion, but at these amounts you've probably not got enough. If you were hedging, you wouldn't want to be hedging 1 for 1, otherwise it'd be a pointless exercise. You could hedge, and there's other ways. You know, you could potentially hedge and be risk free by trade 4, so you'd already be risk free. But then it starts to cost you more money, because to put a trade on at $10, you'd be struggling already with leverage to get a decent enough trade. Well, it's been good to have you guys as well. Apologies we've not looked at the markets really. I'll be back on tomorrow, where I will hopefully be joined by Will again, and hopefully actually get a look at some charts and discuss that instead of just rambling about the dilemmas of being a trader in progress. So good to see you guys. Do join us tomorrow. I'll see you all later in the Discord. Like and subscribe, and have a good day, everyone. Thanks for echoing that, Q. Be good to have you back next time. Peace out. What does Will do? Peace out and then salute. Singing on this side. Can't salute with my left hand, but there we go. Okay, right. Cheers, guys. Catch you later. Peace out.